Okay, good afternoon, students.
Good afternoon, sir.
So today we will do some more equations. Before that, let me tell you something. Let me switch up my video screen. Okay. So in general channel, you will find there is within general channel you will find under files your class material are uploaded there. Chapters are uploaded. In addition, there is a folder called software. Okay. So inside that software, you have installation setup for symbol software that is for your personal use. So you do not share it for any commercial use. As long as you use it for your personal purpose or academic purpose, it is fine. So you can install this software. I have not given the installer. I have just given the zip file, and here is installation setup guidelines. Inside that, you will see how to set up this software. Okay, so all details of how to set up this software are there, and with the given software, you can draw your bond graph model. How to draw that bond graph model is also given. So you can simulate a simple, very simple single degree of freedom system as instruction is given. So spring mass damper system, you can find its response, and this software would require a C language compiler. So if you have Microsoft C language compiler, let's say you have Visual Studio or Dev Studio or anything, that will work. If you have Delphi compiler, that too will work. I have provided Borland command line compiler. So that compiler also is available. You can download that and unzip that. So how to link with Borland command line compiler is also given. That will be required during simulation. For your bond graph part and equation derivation part, you do not need that compiler. But when you go to simulate, you have to compile the code generated in C++ language, and then you have to link to that compiler. So every instruction is given, and you will get some kind of result. So this test case result, whatever is given, that you should reproduce so that you are assured that your software is working. All right. So you install and produce this, whatever result is given. Okay. And if it doesn't work, then you contact the TH. So the software should be ready. Now there is some. This software is a 32-bit software. So what happens is you may face some problem, some warning might come up if you are using Windows 10 Professional or something. In that case, you check what are your firewall settings, and you also give permission, administrative permission to the software so that it can make necessary changes to your system. All right? Okay. So that administrative permission you might have to give. You may have to run it in compatibility mode, 32-bit compatibility mode, but usually it will run without any problem. So there might be sporadic one or two problems if your system configuration has a lot of restrictions. So you download that software and install. And I will show something in tomorrow's class how to draw models there. Some assignments you have to simulate in that particular software. And also MATLAB. I learned that some people do not have MATLAB. So if they do not have, obviously it's very expensive. So they may try C++ or something. Okay. Or they can get it from our CIC, but that will not run. If they get it from CIC, that will require the site license and connection to server, CIC server. So that will not work outside the LAN. So you may get the software from PC++. So MATLAB is necessary for tomorrow's class, it's not necessary, but for the next week onwards, you will require MATLAB. So MATLAB is mandatory. You have to have MATLAB. Okay.
Sir,
So yes, yes.
so we don't have any access to DC++ in this situation, and MATLAB is a 20-25 GB software, which is like very possible to find online.
No. You don't need that latest version. Primitive version 5, okay, version 6, anything will work. Anything will work.
I think
Right.
MATLAB is free for Institute ID, sir.
Yes.
So it's free for Institute ID, sir.
Yes. It is free for Institute ID. But how to get it, I don't know.
Sir,
So you can download from the website and then enter your email ID and then it will automatically log in, sir.
Then good. I don't know. They are sending MATLAB to 2020 to me directly. They are saying you download. MATLAB Central has sent that
Sir,
thing
and
to
there's also MATLAB online available. Like you can use it on the website
well,
only.
for that speed connectivity issue is there. It's always better to let's say, get the desktop itself. Right. So online also you can do. You can do online. So try it out. I think with Institute ID you can download it. If not, then whoever computer it is working, you can allow the other guy, your friend, to at least access that your computer to TeamViewer or something for a few for short time. All right. So somehow or other you have to manage that because the control system is almost all control systems are now developed in MATLAB. So when you actually apply controls, you have to develop your controller in MATLAB, and there is a real-time target or different versions are there. So with that, you can burn the whatever program you have made. That controller you can burn it to your chip or DSP or wherever, and then that controller will work in practice. So, or you may directly do a computer controlled thing with MATLAB or LabVIEW. So these are things which are required. Otherwise, if you do not learn the skill and you only learn the theory, then employers find that our students are not having enough skill level. They have learned a lot of theory but not skills. So that's important. All right. Okay. So whether you do in future some control systems work or not, at least you might be in some administration where you might require the people to know that what people working under you might be using that. Maybe in business analytics also that's necessary. Okay, so MATLAB you should have anyway.
Sir,
Yes.
in case we are unable to install the software which you have given in Teams, can the same be done only in MATLAB if I have MATLAB?
Yes, but it will be you will have to work a little hard. Okay, things that can be done here in let's say 5 minutes, you will require maybe 30 minutes. Okay, see, this software is for bond graph. So if you cannot do it in bond graph, you have to convert that bond graph to a block diagram or equation in MATLAB and then solve it. Likewise, in some control systems, we will have required block diagram. And if you try to do that in bond graph, that is going to be difficult. Means you will be able to do it, but it's not going to be that efficient. All right. So these two softwares will be complementary. It's possible to do a co-simulation as well, but whatever will be taught in your course, you can individually use these. But you can use one of them. There are some tweaks, so I will tell how to do that. It's okay. You can use
Are these
MATLAB.
software available for non-Windows system?
No. This is for Windows. This is for Windows. Symbols is for Windows. Okay. If you do not have, you can use a virtual machine and install some version of Windows. Okay. Use a virtual machine. That's no problem. Then you install their Windows 10. After your course, you remove that partition. Okay. So let's go ahead. So we will derive some more systems of equations. So let me take whatever we have done in your tutorial. In your assignment, just a part of that. So something is there, somewhere there is CG. The basic car model. And we have suspension. I am not considering horizontal dynamics. I am taking only vertical motion. And here is mass and rotary inertia. So this is basically a coach on a rock rail. Let's say rock rail. All right. So why I have not taken a vehicle? Because if I take a vehicle, here again axle will come, below that tire will come. So we will have a bigger system, and it will take quite long to derive the equations. Everything is possible, so I have limited it. So I have a rock rail on which this vehicle is there. This is my wheel, basically. This is my wheel, hard wheel. My hard wheel. So this kind of thing, or simply this kind of thing, they also appear in railways, because you know these rails. This is a rail, this is a rail, two rails. And these are two rails. Let's say two rails. So these rails are kept on sleepers. These are kept on sleepers. So when the wheel comes here, it doesn't deflect much. But when the wheel comes here, it is basically, this part is a beam. This part is a beam. Beam which is kept on two supports. So when the wheel comes here, this deflects. Right? Whereas wheel is here, it doesn't deflect. Again, this part between other slipper deflects, doesn't deflect, so on. Right? So the excitation can be considered to be sinusoidal, or some roughness can be given. All right. So it depends on position of the wheel. Right? The deflection changes depending on position of the wheel. So we have taken some general input from the ground. Okay, so I will derive this equation directly. So I draw the model. One theta dot J transformer 0 1 y dot RBs M so this is my general model. I will just modify it a little. I will tell you how I modify this. So this is my thing. Then I have suspensions here. One, C is to K front, R is to R front, C is to K rear. Here we have source of flow. Here T. Here we have source of flow, E front T. So that is our model. You can put a C is to minus MT. Okay. Now if you look at this one, what is flow here in this bond? This is, let's say, B minus A. So flow in this bond becomes SF, that is BRT, that is plus, then Y dot, plus Y dot, and minus A theta dot. So basically we have suspension fixed here. Side is BRT, and this top is Y dot minus A theta dot. So we should get a relative velocity. We should get a relative velocity. Instead, we are getting their addition. Okay? So this thing can be addressed by changing the power direction. One way is you can make, instead of VRT, you give minus VRT. That is road profile, negative of road profile is provided. That way you can solve it. Or you can solve it by changing these power directions. So in our case, I will simply change this power direction. So that I get here, instead of this, I get VRT minus Y dot minus A theta dot. That's what I require. Right? So I will simply change these power directions. So let me make the changes. So I will make this here. I will make changes here, this here, and here. This power direction I will change. So I will change it. This, 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 this. This is also pretty good. What does it say? On this mass, the total force is whatever suspension force comes, front side, suspension force from front and rear side, minus mg that acts on the mass, suspension force into minus A acts on theta dot, suspension force into B acts on theta dot, the net resultant suspension force induced torque that rotates the vehicle. So that is also fine. So now we have this relation. That is good. So I have written this relation. So this model I am using, both are same. Both are same, just coordinate systems are different. So I will now write down the equations for this. So to do that, we will put normal bond numbers first. Keep some bond numbers, whatever you like. 1, 2, 4. Eight. Here we don't have any sensor. If you require, you can put a sensor. Let's put some sensor. Let's measure this. What is vertical velocity? Let's see. That is 8. That is our sensor. So one sensor I have put, or maybe 2 sensors. Let's put another one. Let's say measure this. It is 90. So we have 19 bonds. We are expecting 38 equations. Obviously, it will take a lot of time. 38 equations we have to write and sort them. So it is going to take time. But we will directly write them. We will not write them step by step. First, we will assign causalities. So we start with source of effort. Nothing happens. This source of flow cannot be propagated. Then one of the I elements, that's here. Then these two come here. Nothing can be propagated. Other I element, this comes here. Here, this can be propagated. So once that is done, then this zero junction, there is no strong bond. So we put here. This zero junction, there is no strong bond. We put here. This bond number 6 now becomes strong bond for I1 junction also. So we put here, here, and here. Good. So we have a pretty good model. This model was caused once we started causaling the I and C elements. In fact, we just causal 2 I elements. C elements are automatically caused by propagation. So once you have such a situation, then our model is very, very good. We have no complications in this model. We just causal sources, right? Then we causal some I and C elements. Here only I elements. Whole model got causal. So our model is very good. It has no loops, nothing, no problems. So in this case, we can actually directly write the equations of motion. So we will write one by one. Some equation of motion, let's make our state vector first. So we have 2 Y elements in integral causality, bond number 2 and bond number 11. So 2 Y elements are there in integral causality, and 2 C elements, bond number 7 and bond number 16, they are in integral causality. So in this model, we have 4 states. 4 states are there. So let's write our state vector then. So we have E2, E11, Q7, Q16. E2, 11, 7, 16. I have written here transpose so that it becomes a vector. It is a column vector. Now, so we write a row vector and transpose. That's okay. Same thing. Or you write it vertically. So X dot comes E2, 11, F7, F16, transpose. We have inputs. Our input vector is one is SC1, another is SF5.
Sir,
Yes,
sir, don't
Yes.
we have to take the sensor C for the state vector?
that's the output. That will be in white output vector. Why?
Okay.
So this is SF14. Transpose, and Y is our output vector. So we have 18 and that was 19. So flow, this is sensor of flow. Okay, flow sensor F18, F19, transpose. So these are our states, derivatives of states, inputs and outputs. So you can also write this. This saves a lot of space instead of writing it vertically downwards. So once we have done this, we require equation of E2, E11, F7 and F16. Those are the state derivative of states. We require their equations and these two outputs F18 and F19. So 6 equations we require finally. So let's catch one by one. So what do we have? This one. We can write here effort is equal to K16, Q16. That's what we know. For this, what do we have? F is equal to F2 actually. This is E16. F2 is P2 by M2. This is E7 is equal to K7, Q7. These are how we write equations, normal equations. Here F5 equal to SF5. Here E1 is equal to SE1. Here F14 is equal to SF14. So whatever equations we usually write, we are writing them here itself. So here for this one, you have F11 equal to E11 by M11. Okay. So all these flows are same. So everything is F11. everything is P11 by M11. All right? Okay. Everything is P11 by M11. So what is the flow here then?
Sir?
Yes.
Sir, too much lag in the video, sir.
That in the video. Okay. Is my video on? Oh. My video is up. So has the screen come? I wrote F11 is equal to P11 by M11.
Yes, sir, it has come, but actually your speaking and the pointer change is quite taking second, 2-3 seconds extra more than that.
Okay, too much lag. Okay, I go slow. Okay, after I tell, after I write, then I tell.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So at 1 theta dot junction, flow of all the bonds is P11 by M11 at 1 theta junction. Then the transformer also in bond number 10 and 12, we have same F11, P11 by M11. The other side of the transformer, we multiply with the transformer modulus. So here in bond number 13, we will have F is equal to B times P11 by M11. And in bond number 9, we will have F is equal to minus A times P11 by M11. So bond number 9 flow is known, bond number 13 flow is known. Likewise, this flow in bond number 2 is strong bond. That is strong bond for the junction 1 junction with 1, 2, 3, 4 bonds. So flow in all of the bonds is P2 by M2. Okay. So if that is known, then we know this F15. What is F15 then? F15 is F14 minus F13 minus F4. Minus F13. So we directly have equation. What is that equation? We have now this is SF14 minus F4 is P2 by M2, and this is minus B times P11 by M11. So we have got F15. Likewise, we will get F6. It comes source of flow is yes.
Sir, when we are doing like this, instead of writing the whole table, so yesterday we saw that there were many equations which were irrelevant. So in this case, why are we finding F15?
F15 because that
Yeah.
is F16. F16 is what value? We have to write an equation for F16.
Oh, okay, sir. Okay.
So we need to find F15 that is coming from F15. F15 is coming from F13 and F4. So we have to go that way. Okay, I need F16. Okay, if I need F16, I have to know F15. To find F15, I require these two. Right? And F4 is known. F4 is known. F13 I find from F12. F12 I find from F11. Okay, so that completes my loop. All right, so that's how they are connected causally. I am going what causes this F16. How do I get F16? Right. So I will go for cause of F16. What is cause of F16? It is F15. F15. What is cause of F15? It is F4 and F13. What causes F4? That is F2. F2 I know. Okay. Good. Done. Then what causes F13? It's F12. Okay. F12 is caused by F11. Right. And F11 is known. So I stop. Right. Again, F15 not only depends on F4 and F13, there is F14. F14 is a source. So that also I know. So I know everything now how that F15 can be determined and F16 can be determined. So I straight write F16 is equal to this value. Likewise, I will straight write F7 is equal to what value after finding F6. Okay. So F6 is SF, that is 5, I think. SF5. Then I have minus. This is P2 by M2. That is F3. And then minus of minus becomes plus A times E11 by M11. Okay? So this is the way I am writing the equations. Okay, so two equations I have straightforward written. If we go to state space, we require equations for F7, we require equation for F16. So we are trying to find them. So how are we trying to find them? I am writing F16 is required. F16 I get from F15. F15 I get from F13 and F4 and F14. F13, F4 and F14. F14 I get from SF14, which is known, and this I get from E2 by M2. This I get from F, whatever that name, other side of the junction, F12. So F13 I get from F12, which comes from F11, that is P1 by M1. So this is termination. These are the known values. So I get F16 in terms of these known values. Okay. So that's how we are going to write the equations. So, okay. Let us now go to find E2. E2 is caused by E1, which is a C1. You need not write these. These are, you can see from mentally by looking at the picture. E2 is again caused by E3 and E4. E and E4. Now this E3 is coming from that strong bond. Strong bond is, if you go to E3 is coming from E6. That is the strong bond. E3 is coming from E6. And E6 is coming from E7 and E8. So E6 is coming from E7 and E8. So I write that E3 is coming from E6. That is E6 causes E3. E7 and E8 are causes. E6 is the effect. E6 is the cause. E3 is the effect. So like that. So I wrote down E3 is caused by E6. E6 comes from E7 and E8. And E7 is known. that is K7, Q7, that is our state variable, terminates E8. This E8 comes from a resistance. And this resistance is in such a causality that it requires the value of F8. So if you look at the picture, E8, to calculate E8, we require value of F8. Now this F8 again comes from three sources. We have already calculated F8. F8 is same as F7. This is same as F7, which we have calculated. This is known earlier. We have calculated here F6 and F7. So this is known earlier. Okay, so we can stop here. So like that, if we go on writing the equations, then we'll directly get the equations. For example, I write F7 is equal to what equation we know. F15 is equal to what equation we know. So F16 is equal to F7 and F16 equations we already know. Now E2 will write E2 is equal to this relation K7 Q7 that comes here. So E2 is equal to K7 Q7 minus plus R8 times F8. F8 means this F6, R8 times F6. So these two, and from other side, similarly, R7 times F15 plus K16 Q16. So we will write E2 is equal to E3 plus E4 plus K7 Q7 plus R8 times F6. This is one side, E4 will come. This was SF, forgotten the thing. F6, let me get F6. SF5 minus P2 by M2 plus A times P1 by L1. And here was another term, that is K K16 Q16 and this R17 times F17. F16 is same as F7 and whatever, F17 and whatever. So that will come plus R17 times SF, whatever I will bring the name afterwards. Then this was a minus 2 by M2, of course. And this will be minus 7 by 10. Let me check. the equation. So SF. Okay. This is SF14 minus P2 by M2 minus P times P11 by M11. So minus P2 by M2 SF14. So my equation is done. One equation straightforward done. Okay. So this is how we calculated E2, E1, E3. E3 comes from this. Okay. E1, E3, E4. E4 also we expand. Dot, dot, dot. So E3 comes from E6. E6 comes from E7. E7 is K7, Q7. Then E6 comes from E8. With a plus sign, we see from forward direction. E8. E8 is R8 times F6 or F8. And that F8, again, we have calculated before, that is this much. So we put that. And this is E4 part. This part is E4. E4 again comes from whatever. So we expand it, we get this equation. All right. It's just Newton's law like. You apply the force balance equation, you apply the moment balance equation. So this is E2. Then we will have another equation for E11. In E11, we will have actually sum of the forces. So E11, so when we look at E11 in the bond graph, are you seeing the bond graph now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So E11 is E10 plus E12 minus E19. E19 is 0. It's sensor. It only has flow. Okay? Flow sensor is always put at one junction. So it doesn't affect one junction. It has 0 effort. Okay? So it will not affect one junction. So it will not come in equation of inertia. E19 is 0. For this E19 is 0. Flow is present. So here, so we have E11 is equal to E10 plus E12. Where is E10 coming from? E10 is coming from E9. E10 is coming from E9. Okay. E10 is coming from E9. Have we determined E9? We have just now determined E9. Whatever is equation for E3, same is equation for E9, all are same. Okay. So we have got E9. That E9 will multiply with minus A and apply on theta dot. Likewise, we have got E4. E13 is same as E4. E13 will multiply with B and apply on theta dot. So that is what it is. So we have already found equation for 3 and 4, E3 and E4. We will reuse that. We will reuse that equation with a multiplication of minus A and plus B. So we will write E11 comes from E10 plus 12, E10 plus 12, then from 9 plus 13, and stop there because we already know. Then what plus what? Okay. Minus 8 times E9 plus B times E13 and this is basically minus A times E, whatever 6 or something was there. Okay, and then you have plus E times E, whatever this was there, E8 or whatever. E6, E4, we can write E6, E4, E3, E4. Because all efforts are same at zero junction, so we can straight write them as E3 and E4. E9 is same as E3, this is same as E4. Actually, E6 and something stronger. So we have these E3 and E4 equations already here. This is our E3. This is E3. So we'll straight write minus A K7 7 plus this is minus A R8 SF 5 plus A R8 by M2. Then this is minus A square R8 E11 by M11. That is one line. Next one is B. Then plus 14 minus B by minus B R 15 E11 by M11. Okay, so part and part equations are already there. This part was coming from the flow 7 equation. This part was coming from the flow 15 equation. So we have got these small parts. Then using those small parts, we are getting bigger ones. And we got all the equations. Okay. So final equation, this was F, whatever that, F7 was this. And the other one was F16. So let's write also F7 and F16. Okay. So that's done. Then two output equations, they are straightforward. F18 is P2 by M2. F19 is P11 by M11. They are connected to a junction with I element, so they are straightforward. Those flows are same as the flow in the corresponding inertia. So all these equations are written. We just have to arrange them in matrix form. This is a 4 cross 4 matrix. So let's try to write them in matrix form. So are all the equations visible now to you? Or there is delay?
Yes, sir, they are visible now.
Okay. So let's write them to go up and down. Okay. 7. What is this? 7. That B part I will fill up later. Let's leave that B part, otherwise we will have to go up and down several times. So this, let me fill up these last two rows. They are easily visible. So we have minus P2 by M2. So Q16, we have minus 1 by M2 in Q16 dot F16. Then we have minus B times P1 by, so minus B by M11. Q7 is absent. Q16 is absent. This SF14 I will add in B part afterwards. In Q7, you have again minus 1 by M2. Then you have A times P11 by A. So P11 is there. A by M11, 0, 0. So these two lines were visible. We have put them. Now this is equation for, this is for E11. This equation is for E11. So let's fill in E11 equation. So what we have, P2 terms. A R8 by M2, one term, minus B R17 by M. So I will write A R8 minus B R17 by M2. Then the term associated with P11, what is that? That will come in square term. Yes. So that is A square R8 E11. This is definitely wrong. This is definitely wrong. This has to be square. I will check. It has to be square, otherwise it's dimensionally not matching. Yes, it's B times E4. B times E4. Okay. So when we multiply with B, obviously there is another B here. So it will become B square. So B square will come. So we are writing equation for E11. I have written it in place of E2, P2, E2. This will be in E11. Not here. Next slide. This one. So we have it E2 by M2. So AR8 minus B, AR8 minus BR17. Then you have A square R8 minus A square R8 minus B square R17. B square R17 M11. Then for Q7, we have minus AQ7, only minus AQ7. So you have minus A K7 Q7. then we must be having another term B times K16. K16 U16. Okay, so this line is completed. So we wrote from there directly. Then before that, we have R8 times R8 by M2 in P2, R7 by M2 in P2. So R8 minus R8 by M2 minus R17 by M2. Minus R8 by M2 minus R17 by M2 into P2. Minus R8 plus R17 by M2. That's the first row, first column. So after this first row, first column, we again go back to equation and find out terms associated with E11. So we have AR8 by M11 minus BR17 by M11. AR8 by M11 minus BR17 by M11. So AR8 minus BR17. AR8 minus BR17 by M11. So we write there AR8 minus B R17. So AR8 minus BR17 by M11. So that part is done. So we are filling. And here, of course, this is vertical motion. We know what will come. The force acting on vertical direction will be K7, Q7. Force acting on vertical direction will be K16, Q16. So what is this equation basically? We have spring force acting vertically is K7, Q7. Another spring force from the right side, from the front suspension acting is K7, K16, Q16. Then you have damper force. This damper force is the most complex one. So the damper force is coming in terms of both the moments, because of the moments as well as because of the linear motions. So when you these terms, all those complex terms, plus minus signs, those are coming from damper. And these two terms will come K16, K7, Q7, and K16, Q16. That is obvious. We can recheck in the equations. It must be coming like that with plus sign only. Yes, it's there. K7, Q7, K16, Q16. So now, after this is done, we have to fill up the B matrix. The B matrix, we have put first source of flow 5, then source of flow 14, then source of effort 1. That is the order we have put. So our coefficients for SF5 will be R8, for SF14 will be R17, and for SC1 will be 1. So coefficients will be R8, R17, 1. SF5, SF14, SC1. I 14, 1, R8, R17. R8, next is R17, AC1 is 1. This matrix number of columns will be same as number of sources. Okay? So previous matrix was a square matrix, 4 cross 4 square matrix, because we are 4 states. In this matrix, we will obviously have 4 equations we have, so 4 rows will be there, and number of columns will be equal to number of the sources. So we have these 4 rows we will have. So let's keep space for 4 rows. 3 columns we have. So this is for equation, first equation E2. Then we go for equation E11. So in E11 we check all these SF5, SF14 and SE1. SE1 is not present. SF5 and SF14 are present. Their coefficients are minus A and 8. Other one is BR17. Minus A and 8 plus BR17. SE1 is absent. So this column is also filled up. So we have filled up second row. Now we will go for equation of dq7 by dt, that is F7. So if you look at F7, we have SF5 present in equation of F7, nothing else. And in F16, we have SF14 present, nothing else is present. So we will simply write down in place of SF, in corresponding to SF5, we will write 1, corresponding to SF14, we will write 1. So in F7, we have SF5, in F16, we have SF14. So here we have SF5, 1, nothing else is present, only 1 times SF5 is present. The second equation, we have SF14 present, SF5 and SE1 are absent. And the multiplying factors are 1. So we have got our equation. This is our B matrix. This is our U matrix. This is our state vector. This is our A matrix, of course. This is X dot. And top one is A matrix. This is our A matrix. So 2 more equations are remaining. Those are output equations. We have F18, F19, P2 by M2 and P11 by M11. So we will write those 2 equations as well as output equations. F18, F19. So our Y is F18, F19. Our Y equal to, again, some C matrix. This will have 2 rows because 2 sensors are there. How many columns? Number of states. So P, what was it? 11 to 7 to 16. First item is, it is F18 is 1 by M2 P2. So 0, 0, 0. Then next one is 0, 1 by M11, 0, 0. So this is our C matrix plus DU. DU is absent, but it can be present in some systems. Plus, basically, we have 0. Step 4, let's say what number I have forgotten, C1. So basically, we will have again 2 rows and columns are 3. 3 columns. So this is our D matrix. This is our C matrix. Okay, so we have written X dot is AX plus BU, Y is equal to 3X plus BU. That is our normal format. So whatever equations we have derived, we have written in that format. So once you do a little bit of practice, you will not actually require all this. By looking at the model itself, you will directly like this matrix. So you don't have to do all this. By looking at model and causality, you will say, okay, this is coming from here, 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 okay, fill it up. Okay, so you just make a black matrix and fill up those terms directly looking at the model. So this is very easy for systems which got causal in step 3 without any problem. I will take some example with algebraic.
So can we stop for a 5 minutes break?
Okay, fine. Okay. I will come back and start from here. So is everyone back? Can we start now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So algebraic look, I am taking a very simple example because you may not deal it a lot. So let's take something like this. Very simple one. There is a mass. There is a spring. There is a damper. And there is a excitation from the bottom. So we have a mass, we have a spring, we have a damper, and a velocity excitation from bottom. Let me modify this a little.
LLR exam license के
But his microphone is on.
Sir, you can mute from your side.
Yes,
Yes, sir, you can mute.
I will mute.
So mute also.
I have muted all. Again, somebody came back. Maybe rejoined. Okay. So we have a mass. We have one spring parallel with a damper. Then below that there is another damper. And we have a ground excitation beating. So very simple one. Its model is also easy. We know forces in all these elements will be same. So I am putting a zero junction. You can derive it in whatever way you like. I put I is to M. If there is some force or gravity, you have to put one junction and then put I is to M and SE is to force or gravity. Right now, it's just a single mass. The force applied on mass is same as force combined in this spring and damper are one. So spring and damper R1 have same relative velocity. They give independent forces. These two forces add up, and that is the net resultant force of the spring and damper combination in parallel. The force through the damper is also same, R2 is same force, and ground is also experiencing same force reaction. So this is our model. A simple one, not many bonds. We should be able to write its equation just like that. All right. It's a child's play. So we give some bond numbers. So give something. Let's say F1. Let's say this be 2. So first we assign some bond numbers. So we have 6 bonds, not many equations, 12 equations. So we can easily write those 12 equations. Let's put causality. And this is where you will come to know that this system, though looks very simple, it's not that simple. So let's put causality. Start with the source. causal stroke, give causal stroke to the source. We cannot propagate it. Then we choose the one I element, give integral causality to the I element, and after giving integral causality to I element, we still cannot propagate it, because at zero junction, we know one bond will be causal near the zero junction, that is the strong bond, but we have two of them left, anyone can be strong bond. So we cannot propagate. So now we will go to integral causality for C element. So C element integral causality we give at this one junction. So we give causality to bond number 5, integral causality in C element. And this one junction, we know one bond, strong bond, will be having causality away from one junction. We have two bonds left, 4 and 6. So we don't know which one will be strong bond. So our model is not completely causal after we are giving causalities to all sources I and Cl. That means there is problem. There is big problem. There is algebraic loop or some loop. Maybe algebraic loop, maybe causal loop. Some loop is there. So we will see if the model gets causal after giving causalities to R elements, then it is algebraic loop. If even after giving causality to R element, it's not causal, then it is a causal loop. Okay? So algebraic loop means after giving causalities to R element, whole model will be causal. And if it still remains uncausal, at least some few bonds are not causal. After giving causalities to R elements and propagating, then there is causal loop. That is the biggest problem. So we don't know, okay, whether we are landing up with smaller problem or bigger problem. So let's give causalities to R elements. So any arbitrary causality we give, let's say I give here this one, then we can propagate after giving causality to R2. We have got strong bond at zero junction, so we can propagate it. So after propagating, we get everything causal. All right. So everything is causal now. So this means model has algebraic loop.
Sir, does having algebraic loop tell anything about the system physically, or is it just some computational aspect?
It doesn't tell anything about the system physically. Causal loop will tell you. Okay. Algebraic loops can exist in many systems. Not a problem.
Like it doesn't mean that one element is missing or there is some.
Nothing. It is solvable. It is because of the model structure. Okay. It's solvable. Absolutely perfect. No problem with the model as such physical terms. It's only computational. So let's write this one's equations. Never attempt to write in the simplest way possible, because you are not going to derive the equations in that way. You will go in loops and loops, because this is loop. So we know that we are landing up with a loop. So we will take appropriate care. So we write F1 is equal to SF1, not many equations. Then as per causality, our states we know. X. States E3, Q5. These two are states. State derivatives, of course, we know. E3, F5. One input. One. No sensors, no outputs. So we don't write Cx dot and y. Cx plus du, that equation we don't write. We may have it. So we have flow 1 is equal to SF1. Then we have F3 equal to E3 by M3. Then you have E5, K5, Q5.
We take source of effort mg.
Then you have to put here one junction at in place of I is to M. You have to put one junction. Then to this one junction you connect I is to M and source of effort is equal to minus mg. Okay, that you have to put. Right now I have not taken that G because that doesn't change the problem. So whatever I want to demonstrate, that is not affected by considering or not considering gravity. So
But sir, the U matrix needs all of the efforts and flow sources.
Suppose this is in horizontal plane, then you don't require. Okay, if it is in vertical plane, it's fine. If it is in horizontal plane, you don't have mg. All right. So if mg is not given, you don't consider it. All right. So it's not necessary that at all places you will consider mg. Let's say this system is lying in a table. This is lying in a table. Lying in a table. This whole thing is lying in table. And there is a mass. And from here, you have some kind of a piezo device. And you are exciting it by applying some voltage to this piezo device. So you are applying some voltage and it's moving this place. It's possible. Okay, so if it's not given, gravity is not given, you don't care about it. Okay. If you put gravity, this will contain another source of effort. Okay. So that is not going to change the nature of algebraic loop. What I am going to demonstrate is what is the property of algebraic loop. So we have these things. Then as for causality, we will write the equations for R elements. In bond number 2, we are providing flow to R element and we are getting effort in R element. So in bond number 2, our input is F2 and output is E2. Whereas in bond number 6, effort is provided to the R element and flow is output. So this has to be very clear. Do not try to think that both are same things. You don't write that E6 is equal to R6 F6 and or F2 is equal to E2 by R2. Okay, that is fine. If you are writing something in manual something, then it's okay. But when you are deriving equations, do not write like that because that is not causally valid. Okay, you have to find F2 to find E2. You have to know E6 to find F6. F6 you cannot directly find out. So if you cannot directly find out F6, you cannot find out E6. Whereas you can determine E6 and from that you can calculate F6. So the computational sequence, you have to follow that. So these 5 equations are there. Then we have 2 junction equations. What we have? We have F2 equal to F3. I am straight writing E3 by M3. Then F4, sorry, not F4. We cannot write that. We will write E2 equal to E3. E3 is equal to E2, that is strong bond. E4, E1 is equal to E2. E4 is equal to E2. And we will write F2 equal to F1 minus F3 minus F4. That is for the zero junction. I am not putting subscripts and other thing because there is only one zero junction. If there are many zero junctions, we write 0 with bond numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. One junction with bond numbers 4, 5, 6. When there are many 1 or 0 junctions. But here only we have one zero junction, one junction, so we need not write in that part.
Sir, in the with respect to causality, so shouldn't it be E2 equal to E3?
No, no. Strong bond is, this junction is getting E2 here. This is giving here O2. This is giving E2. See causality? Effort goes towards the stroke dent. E2. E2. Okay? So here this zero junction strong bond is bond number 2. E2 is input to zero junction. E3, this E3, sorry. E3 is equal to same as E2, of course. Okay, all are same. E4 and E1, all these are outputs from the zero junction. Alright? So E3, E1 and E4 are outputs. E2 is input to the zero junction. If it is one junction, it's different. Alright? So as per causality, this junction has flow 1, flow 3 and flow 4 inputs. Here you see F1 goes to zero junction, this F3 goes to zero junction and F4 also goes to zero junction. And F2 is output of zero junction. F2 is output of zero junction, E1, E4 and E3 are output of the zero junction. So we have 4 outputs, 3 efforts, 1 flow. Then for one junction, what we have? Strong bond is 6, bond number 6, that gives flow to the junction. So we have F4 equal to F6, F5 is equal to F6, and we have E6 is E4 minus E5. So this is for one junction. So we have written all 12 equations. Right? So 12 equations are written. Now let us try to reduce this. So if you try to reduce this, what are we getting? These 3 will go. This is known, this is known, this is known. Fine. So these 3 will go to next round. Then E2 is R2, F2. We cannot write. F2 is unknown. Okay, F2 is unknown. F6 is E6 by R6. We cannot write. E6 is unknown. Then E3 is E2. E2 is unknown. Here E1 is E2 is unknown. E2 is unknown. Here F1, F3, F4. Okay, F1 is known. F3 is known, but F4 is unknown. F4 we don't know. F4 is coming from F6. So F4 is unknown. F6 cannot be written. F4 is unknown means this equation is unknown. Then F4 is F6. F6 is unknown. Here F6 is unknown. E6 is E4 minus E5. E5 is known. E5 is known, but E4 is unknown. So basically we cannot proceed here. We are stuck. We cannot proceed. So this is what is algebraic loop. In algebraic loop, you are unable to proceed by substitution. So what do we do when we have this kind of a situation? What do we do is we have to identify that this algebra. Yes? Yes, any questions? So we will say that this algebraic loop is basically a loop between two resistances. So algebraic loop basically is loop between resistances. Resistances or differential causal elements. This we don't have now. It's not there. So it is between loop between resistances. So if it is loop between resistances, let us assume one factor of power in resistance is known. Let us assume. Let us assume. It's actually not known. Let us assume. So what are there? Let's assume either E2 or F2, one of them is known. So let's say F2 is known. It's appearing here. Right. So let's say F2 is known, E6 is known. Let's say. And E6 are known. And proceed. So we are unable to proceed. Let's proceed. So what we have? F1 is SF1, F3 is E3 by M3, 5 is K5, Q5. This we are assuming to be known. E2 is R2, F2, F6 is E6 by R6. We have assumed this to be known, so this has come. So these have come. Okay? So we have assumed. Then if we assume that, then these are known. Then these are known. E2, E1. So we will shift everything down. So we will write E3 equal to E2. E2 is R2. F2. E1 is R2, F2. 4 is R2, F2. Then F1 we cannot right now. Okay, we'll come back afterwards. F2 we don't know right now. We'll come later. Then F4 is F6. 4 is E6 by R6. F5 is equal to E6 by R6. Done. Then we go to next round. In the next round, we have known everything else, so we can write F2 and we can write E4, E5. So this E4, okay, E4, E5 we can write, of course. E6 equal to E4, E4 is R2, F2 minus E5 is K5, Q5 and F2 is F1, F1 is SF1, F3 is known, F4 is known. So lastly, we write this. F1 minus P by M3 and minus F4. F4 is, where is F4? E6 by R6. So this I took that last. This is the last one. So we just proceeded and wrote like this. Okay. So now, from here, what we have assumed? F2 and E6 are known. This and this. This we have assumed to be known. So let us see this. This is an algebraic equation. If you see, okay, F2 is contained in E6. F2 appears in equation 2 and E6 in equation 1. So just a simple algebraic loop. So we can put it, substitute E6 is equal to R2 times, put F2 there, SF1 minus P3 by M3 minus E6 by R6 minus K5 5. So we got this equation. So E6 has come on left and right, both sides. Okay. So we have now, so what we have, 1 plus R2 by R6 times E6 equal to R2 SF1 minus R2 P3 by M3 minus K5 5. So that's the simple solution. Now we get E6. E6 is equal to R6 by R2 plus R6 times this whole thing. Right. So we got E6. So you see, it's exactly like integration by parts. Same thing is appearing on the left hand side and right hand side. We solve it algebraically and get it. Right. And this factor, whatever factor we will get here, this factor will be always a dimensionless quantity. This will be always a dimensionless quantity. So we got E6. Now we can get F2 also. We have E6, so we can get F2. Minus this whole thing divided by R6. So divided by R6 means this whole thing divided by R6 means straight 1 by plus R6 times this whole thing. Okay. So I will write here R2 1 minus by M3 done, and then 1 by minus, okay, this is R2, so R2 was gone, 1 by R6 was done, okay, so this will be R6 is done, so 1 by K5 by R2 plus R6. So this P3 again will come here. P3 we can add up here. Together. So we have 1 minus R2 by R2 plus R6 times SF1. Look at this. This is a flow variable. This is a flow variable. This is 1 minus a dimensionless quantity. So flow dimensionally correct. Right. Then minus 1 plus R2 by R2 plus R6 P3 by M3. This is again a dimensionless quantity. P3 by M3, momentum by mass is flow. This is correct. Minus K5 Q5, that is the force divided by R2 plus R6. So force by resistance is velocity, meters per second.
Sir, it will be 1 minus R2 by R2 plus R6.
Which one?
P by M3. For P3 by M3, second term.
P3 by M3. This is minus. Oh, minus I have taken common. Okay. Or okay, fine. This is minus. Yes. So this is done. Okay. So whole set of equations are solved. What are our state variables derivatives? P3 and Q5. P3 is same as F2 and F5 is same as F4. F2 and F5. Okay. So we require E3 and F5. So E3 and F5. E3 is E2. E3.
Sir, Q5 will be plus.
K5, Q5 here was minus. Here it was minus. Here it was minus. Here it was minus. How it will become plus?
So there is a minus on the outside.
Where on the outside? Which minus is outside?
Sir, F2 in F2 it will be minus E6, right? So
check. Let me check. F2. F2 is equal to F2 is equal to F1 minus E3 minus E4. Minus F4. Minus F4. Minus F4. Minus F4. So I have written there
that one equation.
Equation 1. Yes. Minus E6 by R6. Okay. So minus E6 by R6. So here I have done minus this minus this. Here it will be plus. Yes. Plus. Okay. So we have to write equation for E3. E3 is equal to E2. E2 is R2F2. So that is E3 is E2 as per strong R2 F equal to R2 times this. R2 times. I am not writing this, whatever it is. This is one equation. And again, similarly, we will get other equation, that is F5. F5 is same as F5 is same as F6, that is strong bond, and F6 is E6 by R. That equation we have. So from here, E6 by R6, R6 will cancel out. So 1 by R2 plus R6 into R2 SF1 minus R2 P3 by minus K5 Q5. Okay. So now this you can write in matrix form. So you see here, before deriving the equations, we knew what are the kinds of problems we are going to face from the modality itself. Okay. So when you find there is algebraic loop, you understand that this is incidentally very simple algebraic loop. You have only two R elements appearing in algebraic loop. You can in fact get many such things appearing together in algebraic loops. And to draw something like this in MATLAB, let's say block diagram, then also it creates a problem. But if you resolve it like this, then the model is fine. That is no problem. So it can be resolved manually like this. Usually, what software will do, they will identify this kind of thing, set of linear equations, and it will use a matrix inversion to solve it. Write this as a matrix equation. Okay, so n number of variables, written as matrix equations, and it will be solved by linear algebra. So, algebraic loops appear like this, and you should know that you should not apply the standard principle while solving the algebraic loop. So, in tomorrow's class, if time permits, I will show how this model loop forms. Or otherwise, I will show you some examples in simulation. Maybe car problem we can solve, or maybe a bouncing ball. Something very simple we will solve in the software, and then I will give you some problems to solve as an assignment.
Sir?
Yes.
Sir, in this question, at that one junction, if we had two capacitive elements, then one of them will have to have derivative causality.
Yes.
In that case, also, will we find a similar loop, or will the loop be sort of different? Like, how is it different from algebraic loop?
That will be a differential algebraic loop. In that, the variable on the left side will be normal variable, okay, and on the right side, derivative of that will appear. Okay.
Okay.
So the variable, and on the right side,
equation.
A differential equation which has to be solved. Okay.
So instead of simultaneous system of linear equations, we'll have ODEs.
You have algebraic differential equations. Those
Okay.
are called differential algebraic loops. Algebraic loops, but those will be called differential algebraic. Okay. So the variable itself is not known, and its derivative is coming. Okay. So that kind of situation will come. That we usually avoid by using that chart that I have discussed how to avoid the differential causality. So differential causality we can avoid, but this algebraic loop we cannot avoid. This is a property of the system because of the resistance, and it will stay. So for the questions,
sir.
yes.
In this case, if we write without